The following segment is sponsored by Smith Injury Law and 300hurt.com.
An unexpected turn of events could leave anyone in need of good legal representation, whether that's a car crash, an accident at work, or a disability claim. It's reassuring to have a knowledgeable attorney in your network. And for us, that is Richard Smith of Smith Injury Law. Thanks for being with us today.
Thank you.
You've been handling personal injury, vehicle collision, workers' compensation cases in the community since 1987. And those issues don't stop for a pandemic. Tell us how you're working to serve your clients today.
Well, basically the same way we've been doing it, except we're not meeting clients in person like we typically do, or have them come into the office. We're maintaining the CDC guidelines. We're basically talking to clients on the phone and on the internet, and we're signing them up online or by way of telephone.
Sure, you can certainly get a lot done this way, we're learning. Today we're focusing on workers' compensation. Tell us, what types of on-the-job injuries do you see most often?
Basically, a lot of back injuries, leg injuries, shoulder injuries are very, very big. Mostly it's lifting type injuries that occur on the job. Occasionally you get somebody that falls or trips, that kind of thing. But any type of accident that happens while you're on the job, fall is not an issue. If you're on the job and you get hurt, that's the only issue. Were you on the job when you had your accident?
Right, and you're kind of leading into that. I imagine some people think twice about filing for workers' comp. They're intimidated. They wonder how their employer will react, but that's not litigation.
That's correct. It's a workers' comp claim process. And basically what they have to do is, it's very important if you get injured, even if you're not certain how severe the injury is, just report the injury and go seek medical attention if you can get it through the employer. Now, we've had cases where the employers discourage reporting the injury. They ignore the injured employee and that sort of thing. So if you end up going to the doctor on your own without being sent there by your employer, you must tell the hospital or the urgent care or someplace you go to that you got injured on the job and describe accurately what happened. The worst thing you can do is go to the doctor afraid to file the workers' comp claim and just deny that an accident happened or something of that nature, because then later on, if your condition is more severe than you thought and you may need surgery, guess what? They're going to get those records. The very first thing they're going to say is, well, here you told the emergency room that there was no accident involved, that it didn't happen at work. Mm-hmm. And that makes it very difficult for us to win your case.
All right, so the big thing is, if you get hurt on the job, you report it immediately, you follow all the right procedures, and make sure at the doctor, at the ER, you told them it happened at work. Anything else that people should keep in mind when this is happening?
That's primarily the main thing, is reporting. Always report it. You can always go back later and say, I reported that claim. My back is feeling better now. I think I'm okay. And maybe it's a medicals only claim where you get sent to be checked out by the doctor clears you, go back to work, and that's the end of the story. It's not the same, but if you're not careful and you make a mistake and don't report it properly, it makes your case become denied, and you may have a very difficult time getting treatment. You may have to go through if you don't have health insurance, you may have to go through the whole litigation process in workers' comp before you're able to even see a doctor. So don't make the mistake of not reporting the injury. That's the main thing. And right. I've had many clients who have been injured on the job, who even had surgeries, that have gone back to work for the same employer. So it's a myth that if you get hurt on the job and report the injury, that you're going to lose your job or get fired.
Right. It's part of doing business.
But it's not something that's going to always happen. And you're under no protection in South Carolina and North Carolina unless you've got an employment contract of some sort. We're in employment at will state, which means that they can be fired for any reason. And I've had many people call me after they did not report the injury and they were fired. Then they came back and said, I was fired after I was injured, but I didn't want to report the injury. So now they've been fired. So don't worry about that. If you're hurt bad enough to bring a workers' compensation claim, I'd be more focused on getting the care that you need, and don't worry about getting fired, because that's not going to happen if you have a good employer and if you're treated properly. And like I said, we can't protect anybody, because unless you've got a contract, you're not really protected anyway in South Carolina under the employment laws.
Absolutely. Well, I know at Smith Injury Law, You can help. You can schedule a free consultation for anybody who wants to discuss their situation. Walk us through that. What does it entail?
Basically, you just call us and we talk to you over the phone. We find out what kind of injury that you have. Are you an employee or are you an independent contractor? That's a big issue there, because if you're not an employee, workers' comp doesn't cover you. If you're an independent contractor, but sometimes employers will call you that, yet they still treat you like an employee. But there's a case involving several different factors. You may be called an independent contractor, but if certain factors apply, you may still be considered an employee under the Workers' Compensation Act. So it's very important to call us, talk to us about your case. There's no charge to do that. There's no commitment by a phone call conversation. We can talk to you, decide if you have a case or not. Then if you decide to hire us and sign the contract and the different forms, then we'll proceed with your case. If you decide not to, there's no fee.
Great. Doesn't hurt to reach out and find out what your options are. You can get in touch with Richard Smith by calling 300-HURT or visit 300hurt.com. Anything else we should cover before we let you go for today?
Main thing is just remember to be careful, follow the CDC guidelines. Don't feel because it's a relatively small number of cases reported in South Carolina that this is some type of hoax or whatever. I mean, wear the mask, wash your hands, follow the guidelines. It's better to be safe than sorry. And hopefully this will clear out of here relatively soon and we can get back to some type of normal situation. But always remember, it's better to follow the guidelines than to not, because not only are you risking your own health, but also the health of loved ones who may be more likely to be injured through this virus than a healthy younger person. So be very careful, follow the guidelines, and watch Fox 21 to get all the updates.
All right, Richard Smith of Smith Injury Law, thanks so much for joining us today. We look forward to having you back again soon.
Thank you.